UFC 316 live from Newark, New Jersey. We got the champion Dvalishvili taking on Sean O'Malley, and we got the women's bantamweight championship on the line as well with Juliana Pena taking on Kayla Harrison. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Kicking off the fight card in the men's lightweight division, we got Markel Maderos taking on Mark Choinsky. Now, I'm going to just make this brief and simple. The pick is going to be Markel Maderos. Take caution, though, because Markel Maderos just pulled out of his fight last week. He was supposed to fight at the Apex, and he wasn't able to make it because I guess he was sick or something like that. But, it's a new week, so I guess he feels better. I don't know what it is. It is what it is. But Mark Choinsky making his UFC debut. I mean, when you look at his record, he's not fighting anybody that is, good. He's not fighting. He has no good names on his resume whatsoever. I believe he fought a guy that was 2-8 a few fights ago as well. Obviously won that fight being 8-0. But yeah, the pick is Markel Maderos. I think that he's going to have an edge in experience. He's fought better competition than Mark Choinsky, and Mark Choinsky is taking this fight on short notice. So, yeah, the pick is Markel Maderos, and we move on to the next fight. The next fight on the card is in the men's lightweight division. We got Quillian Salkill taking on Yanal Ashmouz. It's going to be a pretty good fight. Quillian Salkill coming off that stoppage win over Anshul Jubli. Anshul Jubli had some hype behind him still going into that fight after losing his fight before that, but he still had a pretty decent record, being 7-1 before he took on Quillian Salkill. Anyway, Quillian Salkill had a good debut on Dana White's Contender Series with a win over Gage Young. That win ages pretty good because Gage Young, he just fought not too long ago. Can't remember the dude he fought, but it was actually a good fight. Gage Young showed a lot of good moments in that fight. Showed that he has heart, has grit, and he can throw down with the best of them. But Quillian Salkill ultimately won via unanimous decision. Had about 9 takedowns that fight where he fought Gage Young. Now he's taking on Yanal Ashmouz. Yanal Ashmouz, he's pretty good. He's a shorter, stockier guy for the division. His only loss is to Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan's on a nice win streak right now, just tearing off everybody. So that's not a bad loss to have on your record. The fight after the loss to Chris Duncan, he beats Trevor Peek by unanimous decision. Pretty much just, did what he had to do, out-grappled Trevor Peek, because Trevor Peek likes to go in there and throw bombs. Anyway, the pick is going to be Quillian Salkill. I believe he has more ways to win. I believe he will have a wrestling advantage, and if somehow Yanal Ashmouz does take him down, Quillian Salkill has some good jiu-jitsu. He can play off his back. Maybe get a couple of sweeps off his back, stand up if he needs to, threaten with submissions, and Quillian Salkill's got some pretty decent boxing. So Quillian Salkill is the pick, and that's actually going to be a pretty good fight. So on to the next one. The next fight on the card is in the men's featherweight division. We got Jeka Saragi taking on Ju Sang Yu. Ju Sang Yu making his UFC debut off of a successful Dana White looking for a fight episode where he went out there. I believe he starched the dude. I mean, it wasn't like a clean starch, but he definitely put Buddy down, to say the least. Looked good, got some good dynamic striking. He's actually got some pretty good stand-up, got good posture. He's been winning a lot of fights by unanimous decision as well too, so it shows that he can go the distance and not get tired. Jeka Saragi is coming off a loss to Weston Wilson via arm triangle. We took Jeka Saragi in that fight to win, and he ended up losing, so I was kind of disappointed in him. Not to mention he did lose to Anshul Jubli as well. So pretty much the MO with Jeka is he has a puncher's chance in this fight. Like, he could score a nasty knockout because he does have a lot of knockouts on his record. I mean, if you watch the road to the UFC, I believe he was on, I mean, he was knocking dudes out left and right in the road to the UFC. So he's got power, but if Ju Sang Yu can stay away from that power and style on him, Ju Sang Yu should win this fight. No doubt about it. Like I said, Jeka Saragi, all he has is that puncher's chance to knock some dick in the dirt and try to make Ju Sang Yu fuck the mud. But I believe Ju Sang Yu has more ways to win. I believe he can stay away from that power of Jekasaragi, and I believe that he can end up finishing Jekasaragi in his own right. So this fight, in my opinion, will not go the distance. Somebody's getting knocked the fuck out. So that'll be the best bet, is for this fight to not go the distance. And if you want to money line anybody, I would probably more likely money line Ju Sang Yu. But when I put this fight on my bet slip, I'll probably just have this fight not go the distance for a little bit more value if it's worth it. Yeah, on to the next one. The next fight on the card is in the women's flyweight division. We got Ariane Lipski taking on Wang Kong, or Kong Wang. Ariane Lipski coming off back-to-back losses to Karine Silva and Jasmine Jasudavicius, two really good grapplers in their own right. The fight before that, she beats Casey O'Neill via armbar second round. That's a good win in my opinion, because Casey O'Neill she's a fucking good. Like I said before in one of my videos, a lot of people, they bag on Casey O'Neill like she's dog shit, like she's trash. Casey O'Neill is gritty as fuck. She's tough as hell. She's got some decent stand up, and she can grapple her ass off and make people quit just by her grappling pressure. And for Ariane Lipski to actually get a win over her, like I said, that's pretty impressive. No doubt about it whatsoever. But this fight's going to be a little bit different, because there's not going to be much of a takedown threat when she's taking on Kong Wang. And Ariane Lipski is not really much of a grappler in her own right. I mean, if it goes down to the ground, she has a chance of scoring the submission. But, I wouldn't bet my money that she wins by submission whatsoever. She's taking on Kong Wang. Kong Wang is a very good striker, power in her hands, good kicks. And, the last fight that Kong Wang had was against Bruna Brazil, where she just completely styled on Bruna Brazil the entire fight, shut her down, one of unanimous decision. The fight before that, she fought Gabriela Fernandez, and that was a fight where Kong Wang actually got rocked in that fight, and Gabriela Fernandez took advantage of her being in a vulnerable state, and ended up getting a rear naked choke in the second round. Nobody saw that coming. Kong Wang was like a minus 1,000 favorite, so she burned a lot of people parlays that night. I ain't gonna lie. But back to the nitty gritty. If I had to pick a winner, obviously I'm gonna pick the side of Kong Wang, because Ariane Lipski, she's not going to be as physical as Gabriela Fernandez. Gabriela Fernandez is pretty jacked. She's pretty strong for the weight class, and she's a powerful striker. Ariane Lipski, I mean, she's not going to have that power side on her edge. She could throw some pretty good kick combinations when she mixes it up. She could throw some good boxing combinations as well. But Kong Wang is seasoned in Muay Thai, so Kong Wang will more likely outstrike her to a decision win. Me personally, I would bet that this fight goes to the distance. As far as the money line goes, Kong Wang is pretty much a high favorite, so it's not really much value on that. But yeah, the money pick is Kong Wang. The next fight on the card is in the men's welterweight division. We got Chaos Williams taking on Andreas Gustafsson. Chaos Williams coming off that Darce choke loss to Gabriel Bonfim earlier this year. The fight before that, two back-to-back wins over Carlston Harris and Ronaldo Bedoya, and lost to Randy Brown, lost to Miguel Pereira, win over Miguel Beza, win over Matthew Semmelsberger, win over Alex Morono. And he's taking on a guy who's making his UFC debut, and Andreas Gustafsson coming off that successful Contender Series win over Pat Pitlick, where, it told me a lot about Andreas Gustafsson's style. Like, he comes in and he's just straightforward pressure, no real technique. I mean, he's got power. He can press you up against the fence, land some dirty boxing, throw some elbows, throw some knees. That's how he got Pat Pitlick out of there. But he's taking on Chaos Williams, a UFC veteran in his UFC debut. And in my opinion, this is a pretty tough fight. I mean, the last few opponents that he was supposed to have ended up pulling out. He was supposed to fight Preston Parsons. That was a winnable fight. He was supposed to fight Trevin Giles. That was a winnable fight. He was supposed to fight Jeremiah Wells. That was a winnable fight as well. Now he's got Chaos Williams, where it's, in my opinion, is a dangerous fight for you to take on a UFC debut. But I mean, what the fuck do you do when you have 3 opponents who all back out of the fight? And you know the UFC offers you somebody like Chaos Williams, and then you like, oh no, I don't want to fight him. It's not something you can really do in the UFC. Pick your fight. So he gets Chaos Williams, and Chaos Williams, he's got power in his hands. He's got a good get-up game, decent wrestling defense. The submission threat for Andreas Gustafsson is not going to be there. I don't think Andreas Gustafsson is going to come in there on some Gabriel Bonfim shit and, you know, get a fluke. I'm not going to say fluke Darce choke, but I don't think he'll be able to muscle his way into a submission here. If he pushes Chaos Williams against the fence, Chaos Williams has a good fence game. He can get off the fence, get his underhooks, put you against the fence, and I believe Andreas Gustafsson is going to come in there winging shots, no real head movement, and Chaos Williams ends up catching him and puts him away. So my best bet for this fight is for this fight to not go the distance. Again, somebody's getting knocked the fuck out, and I believe Chaos Williams, he's more of a veteran. He's had more experience in the UFC. He's fought tougher opponents. He's fought big name opponents, and I believe he gets the job done on Saturday. The next fight on the card is in the men's heavyweight division. We got Sergey Spivak taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta. Now, this is probably one of the harder fights to choose from on this card, for the simple fact that Sergey Spivak has a really good ground game, really good takedowns, and he's taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta, who has really good boxing. His takedown defense has not been tested in a while, but I do believe Sergey Spivak can find the takedown. If he can stay away from getting knocked out, I think Sergey Spivak has a real chance of winning this fight. But at the end of the day, like I said, Waldo Cortez Acosta, the dude throws some powerful strikes. I mean, his last fight, he knocked out Ryan Spann. Yeah, for granted, Ryan Spann was jumping up a weight class, moving up to heavyweight from light heavyweight. And, yeah, he was banging with, it was a good fight. They were banging it out until, you know, Waldo Cortez Acosta rocked the fuck out of him. I mean, I called that fight perfectly. A lot of people, they were high on Ryan Spann, like, oh, Ryan Spann's going to knock him out. And I'm like, man, you moving up to heavyweight and you get Waldo Cortez Acosta as a debut for heavyweight, it's a dangerous fucking fight. And sure enough, Waldo Cortez pulled through. So, yeah, like I said, he's taking on Sergey Spivak, who his last fight lost to Jailton Almeida. He did take down Jailton Almeida in that fight. Jailton Almeida is like one of the best grapplers and / wrestlers at the heavyweight division right now. So you taking down Jailton Almeida says a whole lot about you. The fight before that, armbar win over Marcin Tybura. Marcin Tybura is a fucking wizard when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Fight before that, lost to Cyril Gane by, you know, TKO. Beat Derek Lewis. I mean, Sergey Spivak's got some pretty good wins on his record, some pretty good losses too. Waldo Cortez Acosta, I mean, he hasn't fought the caliber of opponents that, you know, Sergey Spivak has fought. So, like I said, this is a tough fight to call, because I could see Waldo Cortez Acosta finding a knockout, and I could see Sergey Spivak, you know, taking him down and finding a submission. So honestly, I'm probably just gonna stay away from this fight in general. But if I had to money line somebody, I would my gut's telling me Waldo Cortez Acosta. That's what my gut's telling me, because Sergey Spivak has been put out before. So I'm gonna go with the gut here, and I'm gonna bet for Waldo Cortez Acosta to win. Maybe a hot take, but it is what it is. I mean, the moment this fight takes off, you're going to know who's going to win by who's pressuring who. Is Spivak's pressuring him, walking him down? He's going to land a takedown eventually, and it's going to be a long night for Waldo Cortez Acosta. If Cortez Acosta is walking Spivak down, probably going to be a short night for Spivak, where Waldo Cortez Acosta lands a big shot and knocks him out. So, yeah, I'm staying away from this fight. The next fight on the card is in the men's lightweight or light heavyweight division. We got Azamat Murzakanov taking on Brendan Hibero. Azamat Murzakanov, 14-0 in his professional martial arts career. Dude's good, moves very fluent, bounces in and out, good 1-2s, solid wrestling. I mean, yeah, this fight definitely is not going to go the distance whatsoever. I believe this card is going to have a lot of finishes on it, to be honest. The money line pick for me here is Azamat Murzakanov. Brendan Hibero, he can surprise you and, you know, knock some people the fuck out, or, you know, chokes or Kimura people the fuck out, like how he did against Dr. Nergozai. You know, we picked Dr. Nergozai to win that fight, and Dr. Nergozai blew up our parlays. So, yeah, but Brendan Hibero has been chinned before. He got knocked out by Mi Yang Zhang. Mi Yang Zhang fucked him up. Got knocked out by a few people. So he's taken some L's before. So the pick is going to be Azamat Murzakanov, and I believe Azamat Murzakanov wins this fight by a TKO. On to the next one. The next fight on the card is in the men's flyweight division. We got Bruno Silva taking on Joshua Van. Bruno Silva coming off that loss to Manel Kape, where, you know, Manel Kape did, I believe he kneed him in the nuts. Maybe, I think it was a knee to the nuts, and, you know, the referee just didn't stop the fight, so Manel Kape pounced on him, got him out of there in the third round. Fight before that, he knocks out Cody Durden in the second round. Fight before that, chokes out Tyson Nam. Fight before that, knocks out Victor Rodriguez. And the fight before that, fucking knocks out JP Bays. Yeah, so Bruno Silva, he's got decent Thai boxing. His Thai boxing is actually more than decent. It's pretty good, to be honest. He's got a lot of power in his shots, a lot of power in his hands. He's taking on Joshua Van, though. And, you know, Joshua Van is a good volume striker. And the thing about Joshua Van is Joshua Van always loses the first round. It's like, it's just vintage Joshua Van. I don't know, like, he literally loses the first round, comes back in the second, and just completely styles on his opponents, out-volumes them, overwhelms them. And the thing about Joshua Van is he's got elite takedown defense. So Bruno Silva is not taking down Joshua Van in this fight. And Joshua Van has very good boxing. You know, he can mix in his kicks as well, too. But the way he rips to the body, I mean, I believe he actually got the record for the most body strikes landed in a fight at the moment at this flyweight division. So Joshua Van's a cold piece, man. And I believe the only way Bruno Silva wins is if he knocks Joshua Van out. And Joshua Van can take a hit. You know, the only time he ever been stopped was to Charles Johnson, and that was late in the third round. So the pick here is a no-brainer for me. Joshua Van's going to get this dub. And honestly, I think he wins by unanimous decision. I don't think that he's going to put Bruno Silva out. Bruno Silva's pretty fucking tough. Joshua Van's tough as well. So yeah, the pick is Joshua Van. His boxing, his volume, his takedown defense is literally elite level. Like, the dude takedown defense is crazy, and he's never wrestled until he started doing mixed martial arts. So the dude catches on quick. He's young as fuck, and yeah, I believe he's going to be around in the flyweight division for a long time. And after this fight with Bruno Silva, I think that catapults Joshua Van into, I'm not going to say title contention, but I believe he'll probably get 2 more fights, and then he'll be offered a nice, you know, title eliminator fight against probably like the number 2 or number 3 guy in the division. So Joshua Van's the pick. This is gonna be a good fight. Any fight that Joshua Van is in is a good fight. So on to the next one. The next fight on the card is in the men's welterweight division. We got Vicente Luque taking on Kevin Holland. Now, Vicente Luque coming off that win over Timba Garimbo via submission. Yeah, we had Timba Garimbo in that fight to win, and Timba Garimbo just was like, well, you know, here's my neck. You know, you can do whatever you please with it. Choke me out if you want to. And that's exactly what happened. Vicente Luque put his ass to sleep. The fight before that, he loses TKO to Joaquin Buckley. Fight before that, beats RDA Rafael Dos Anjos by unanimous decision. And the fight before that was the fight where he took on Jeff Neal, where he took a whole lot of damage in that fight, ended up losing, and then I believe he had a brain bleed. He had one of the craziest injuries in the UFC, like almost ended his career right then and there. His brain had like internal bleeding and some more shit. So that's scary, that's not a good look, in my opinion. And he's taking on Kevin Holland, and Kevin Holland is a very good dynamic striker, especially at the welterweight limit. Like usually Kevin Holland, he loses fights at middleweight because he's a small middleweight when he goes up and he's fighting bigger guys like fucking Rainier de Ritter and Roman Dolidze, and it's just not his weight class. But every time he comes back down to welterweight, he looks real good. His last fight was against Gunnar Nelson, and he easily won that fight. Fuck Gunnar Nelson up. Had Gunnar Nelson hurt in the first round, I believe if there was like 30 more seconds in the first round, Kevin Holland would have stopped him in the first round. So yeah, Vicente Luque, he's gonna have Kevin Holland's gonna have a reach advantage for sure, because Vicente Luque he's not short, but Kevin Holland's 6'3" and Vicente Luque is like 5'10". Kevin Holland's gonna be just picking him apart, in my opinion. I believe Kevin Holland does beat Vicente Luque. I believe he does get the finish. Vicente Luque, his chin is still very questionable. Yeah, he got that win over Timba Garimbo, but that was a low IQ Timba Garimbo, who was just like, well, here's my neck, you can wring it out if you want to, and I'll try to fight out of it. And it didn't work that way. I don't believe he's going to be able to do that same thing to Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's really good off his back, especially at the welterweight weight class. Good off his back. He can threaten with subs, and he has power in his shots. Just like, when fucking Jacare Souza had Kevin Holland, and he was in Kevin Holland's guard, and Kevin Holland fucking just pushes him back and just starts winging shots from the bottom and fucking knocks out Jacare Souza from the bottom. So, yeah, my pick is Kevin Holland. The next fight on the card is in the men's bantamweight division, and this one is my all-time favorite fucking fight of the night. We got Mario Bautista taking on Patchy No Love Mix, the reigning Bellator, the last Bellator bantamweight champion. Patchy Mix, 20-1 in the UFC, finally. Like, this is arguably one of the best bantamweights on the fucking planet in Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix is a dog. He has superior grappling. His stand-up is ever evolving. He has good stand-up. And if Mario Bautista comes into this fight like how he did the Jose Aldo fight, where he thinks he's just going to press Patchy Mix up against the cage and knee his way to a victory, he's sadly fucking mistaken, bro. He is sadly mistaken. Patchy Mix grappling is on another level. Mario Bautista, yes, he's on a nice run. I think he's got the longest active win streak in bantamweight history at the moment. But Patchy Mix is on a good run in his own right. I mean, taking out Magomedov, beating Sergio Pettis by submission, knocking out Rafion Stotts. I mean, beating Kyoji Horiguchi. I mean, Patchy Mix has just, in my opinion, he has fought some fucking amazing competition. And the competition he's fought is way better than the competition Mario Bautista has fought. Mario Bautista's best wins are fucking Damon Blackshear, Jose Aldo, and we'll throw Ricky Simone in there too, because Ricky Simone just had a nasty knockout performance. So we'll give him some credit as well. But now he's taking on Patchy Mix, man. I don't think he has anything for Patchy Mix. I think Patchy Mix disposes, dispatches, and gets Mario Bautista out of the top fucking 5, because of the way he did my boy Jose Aldo, it was just absolutely atrocious that the judges gave him that fight. Jose Aldo had the cleaner strikes, was more aggressive and was actually trying to win the fight. And all Mario Bautista did was press Jose Aldo up against the cage, attempt takedowns that he could not get. And once he couldn't get them, all he did was just knee his way to a victory. Just picture what I'm telling you right now. Mario Bautista pressed Jose Aldo up against the cage. He's just leaning on him and just throwing knees to his thighs. Knees to his thighs. A fucking disgrace. And yeah, Mario Bautista, your time is up. Patchy Mix is here. And yeah, I believe Patchy Mix is going to be levels ahead of Mario Bautista everywhere this fight takes place. So yeah, that's the bet. Mario Bautista's time's up. Patchy No Love Mix is going to get it done, and I'm actually pretty excited to see where his career goes after this and what the UFC does with him, because like I said, he's the last Bellator bantamweight champion. You know, I believe he had the featherweight belt too at one point. Patchy Mix is cold as shit, and everybody who don't know who Patchy Mix is, this is your time to be, you know, this is your time to get another UFC fighter that you fuck with on your resume, because Patchy Mix has been that dude for a long time. And I've always said they need Patchy Mix in the UFC. They need Dakota DeChiva in the UFC. And we starting to see this shit come true, because PFL is just a complete shit show. A dog shit ass promotion that's going belly under. And I can't wait for the UFC to absorb the rest of their fighters. Patchy Mix gets it done. On to the next one. The next fight on the card is in the men's middleweight division. We got Kevin Gastelum taking on Joe Bodybags Pyfer. Let's just make this one short and sweet. The pick is going to be Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer is literally towering over Kevin Gastelum in the fucking post-fight face-off or pre-fight face-off. I mean, Kevin Gastelum at a middleweight is just so under fucking size, man. It actually kills me that he's been fucking fighting middleweight for a long time, but he's been undersized the entire time, you know, and he's just not the same he's not the same Calvin Gastelum that he once was. I mean, he's been in wars with fucking the who's of the middleweight division. I mean, fucking Robert Whittaker, Israel Adesanya, Jared Cannonier, Chris Curtis, Sean Brady. I mean, the list actually goes on for who Calvin Gastelum has taken on. He's had a lot of success, and then he had a lot of losses, you know. So, I mean, yeah, he's just undersized for the division, man, and he could beat some people, but you know, like the bigger fucking middleweights, he has a tough time with, man. Always had a tough time with him. So, yeah. The money line pick is going to be Joe Pyfer. I mean, Joe Pyfer hits hard. He's a big dude, and he can actually grapple pretty fucking good. His training partner is fucking Sean Brady, and Sean Brady literally just, how long ago did Sean Brady sub Kelvin Gastelum? Let me go check real quick, because Sean Brady just beat Kelvin Gastelum in 2023 via Kimura. So I think Joe Pyfer can't have that same level of success. Kevin Gastelum has a block head. I mean, he's hard as fuck to knock out. While Joe Pyfer does hit hard, I just don't see Joe Pyfer knocking out Kelvin Gastelum. Kevin Gastelum could take a fucking punch. I mean, he's taking punches from fucking Jared Cannonier. I mean, Israel Adesanya. Like I said, just the who's of the middleweight division. And that war with Israel Adesanya, that was nothing less than a fucking war. They literally beat the fuck out of each other for 25 minutes straight. So, you know, that's probably going to take some age off of, you know, Kelvin Gastelum just for being in that war. You know, that, you know, take some age off his ass. But yeah, it is what it is, taking on Joe Pyfer. Yeah, Joe Pyfer's the pick, man. I'm not going to make this video too long. It's probably going to be one of the shorter videos that I done dropped. So, yeah, on to the next one. So, the next fight on the card is the co-main event for the women's bantamweight title. You got Juliana Pena, 11-5, taking on Kayla Harrison, 18-1. Juliana Pena, you know, it's crazy because the season with Juliana Pena on The Ultimate Fighter, I immediately knew, like, oh, Juliana Pena is going to go to the top in the UFC because she has that dog in her. You know, her striking is not like super fucking clean, but she has volume and she can find her way to, you know, boxing your ass up if it comes down to it. I believe she will have the striking edge over Kayla Harrison. And, you know, I mean, you watched the fight with Juliana Pena and Raquel Pennington. It was a pretty much back and forth war where Juliana Pena etched out a split decision. I mean, honestly, that fight could have went either way, but I believe Juliana Pena did enough in that fight to win that belt back. So, you know, the fight before that lost to Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes, you know, the GOAT of women's MMA. And then the fight before that, she ended up getting that fluke, you know, rear naked choke over Amanda Nunes, where she actually had some great success on the feet against Amanda Nunes. You feel me? Like, Juliana Pena was piecing Amanda Nunes up in that fight. That was like one of the biggest upsets in history. Nobody saw that shit coming. And that's where this is where I get my, what people consider a hot take. This is why I say when Dakota Dvalishvili comes into the UFC, if she ever does, she will box Amanda Nunes the fuck up. Like, people don't understand how good Dakota Dvalishvili's striking is, and she's got really good takedown defense. But we gonna save that video when she actually makes her way into the UFC. Dakota Dvalishvili is a cold fucking piece. I love her work. She be knocking. I mean, I believe every fucking fight that she has is by finish. Dakota Dvalishvili is a problem. But anyway, we talking about the UFC fighters, not the PFL fighters. Yeah. Juliana Pena taking on Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison's two-time gold medalist in judo for the Olympics. You know, Kayla Harrison's a beefy fucking female. Like, she's fucking damn near swoller than me. You know, she's jacked and she's pretty fucking strong. Great grappling. Striking leaves a little bit to be desired. I mean, her striking is not the best, but like I said, neither is Juliana Pena's striking. You feel me? I believe that Juliana Pena will have more success in the striking department, but I highly doubt that she's just gonna catch Kayla Harrison flush and knock her out. I believe Juliana Pena, she comes in with her flurry, where, you know, she kind of ducks her head down and she'll start swinging. Kayla Harrison gets up under her, right up on the hips, dumps her, takes her down, and controls the fight pretty much just like that. I'm not saying that Kayla Harrison's going to finish her, but I believe Kayla Harrison will grind out a decision win where she has top control and the majority of the fight takes place on the mat, where Juliana Pena really can't get up with a massive, strong, brolic ass fucking female like Kayla Harrison on top of her. So I think Kayla Harrison wins the women's bantamweight belt, and then, you know, she fights Amanda Nunes next. On to the next one. The next fight on the card is the main event for the men's bantamweight title. We got Merab Dvalishvili taking on Sean O'Malley in what is, I guess, I'm not going to say a long anticipated rematch. I can honestly give a fuck about this fight again because it's going to be an exact repeat of the first fight. Let's just be honest. And all the people out there who are like, oh yeah, I believe Sean O'Malley gets it done this time. You know, he wasn't at his best the first time. Man, stop it. Please fucking stop it. Fucking, I believe that Umar Nurmagomedov will beat Sean O'Malley, and Merab Dvalishvili just literally styled on Umar Nurmagomedov fucking 3 out of 5 rounds. So I don't think Sean O'Malley has a chance in fucking hell of beating Merab Dvalishvili. And then a lot of people, they go back to their first fight. They're like, oh, watch the first fight back. You know, O'Malley, you know, there's an argument for him winning 2 rounds. No, the fuck there's not. What fight was y'all watching? Because the entire time I'm watching that fight, I'm like, oh, Merab won that round. 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 Until the very last round, where Sean O'Malley does land a nice body kick at the end of the fucking fight and hurts Merab Dvalishvili. There's an argument that could be made if there was more time on the clock. O'Malley might have scored a TKO. Who knows? But other than that, he got control of the entirety of that fight. And what do we know about Merab Dvalishvili? He gets better and better after every fucking fight. Like I said, he just beat Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar Nurmagomedov was probably I'd rather see that rematch than this rematch, to be honest with you. Because why? Because Sean O'Malley has not had a fight since he lost to Merab last year in September. So we don't really have shit to go off of. We don't know if he really worked on his ground game, which is pretty much the only thing he needed to work on. We don't know if he's going to be able to stuff the takedowns. Like, in my opinion, O'Malley should have at least took another fight so he can gauge where he's at, you know? But he just thrown right back into a title shot where Merab's going to beat him. Merab cardio is on another level, and his wrestling, I'm not going to say his wrestling's on another level because his wrestling kind of mid. He just has a lot of fucking pressure. He don't stop shooting takedowns. He's got the highest takedown, or he's got the most takedowns in the UFC history right now, just passed up Georges St. Pierre. You feel me? So, yeah, Merab's going to win this fight. And everybody who's like, oh, I think Merab's going to, or I think O'Malley's going to win this time. Like I said, am I in like an alternate reality? Am I in like a parallel universe? Because this is clearly Earth 2 slow if you fucking think that Sean O'Malley is going to be Merab. I don't really have confident. I do have confident picks, but not as confident as I'm in on this one. You know, Sean O'Malley was the favorite fighting Merab the first time. And I took Merab because I know how Merab gets down. And we won plus money that night. It ain't going to be no different. Merab Dvalishvili and still UFC bantamweight champion. Who's next for him? That's the real question. Get Umar Nurmagomedov back in there. That was a good fight. He did much better than, he did a lot better than Sean O'Malley did. I just put it that way. But clearly the UFC wants Sean O'Malley to win because he's a big draw, somewhat of a superstar. And, he could draw in a lot of people and a lot of money. But yeah, that's it. That's the breakdown. Without further ado, let's get into my top 5 most confident picks. All right, the downwards arrow represents the fight to not go the distance. So the Jekasaragi versus Ju Sang Yu fight, I don't see it going the distance. Give me Chaos Williams over Andreas Gustafsson. I know they got Uros Medic in the thumbnail right there, the fight pick. Uros Medic pulled out, Andreas Gustafsson pulled in. The fight with Azamat Murzakanov and Brandon Ribeiro, that fight does not go the distance. I believe Azamat Murzakanov puts him out pretty early. Give me Joshua Van over Bruno Silva. And give me Merab Dvalishvili and still the bantamweight champion of the world to beat Sean O'Malley. I should have included my boy Patchy Mix in there, but I believe these are some safer bets for you guys. And yeah, it's going to be a good fight card. UFC 316, Newark, New Jersey. I will see you guys Saturday. Let's go.